So you want to change career or join or build a career in IT, and you would like a rewarding job that is going to pay you high salaries. And you would like to have that done in a short period of time in a program that is already designed and the steps and the roadmap are clear. If that's the case, then stick around because this video is for you. My name is Isa Abu Sharif, and I have been in the training business for so long. And I am an authorized AWS instructor, and I'm a content developer leading a team of developers that have built a career transformation program that I think is going to help. But away from that program, let me guide you through an option for an IT career that really makes a lot of money and is going to be on high demand for years to come. And that is the cloud and DevOps, and specifically the DevOps part of it. I know the cloud is hot, but DevOps is even hotter than that. And why is that? Why is it hot? Why am I so confident that building a career in that area is going to be beneficial? Let me show you one thing. This is the projected DevOps market that is going to grow about 5 times between 2024 and 2033. So in 9 years, we're going to reach 66 billion per year, 55 the year before, 46 the year before, and so on. So that means if the growth is about 20% or a little less, that means there will be jobs, there will be demand, and the demand is increasing rapidly, that the available resources are not enough to keep up with the demand. And that's why globally, one of the hottest spots in IT is being into cloud and DevOps. So what's DevOps? DevOps is the plumbing of software development. Plumbing? Yes. So pipelines usually they are in oil industry, they are in plumbing and all that. We need to build something that is going to take the software from the time the developers are going to deliver it until it is built and deployed in the cloud, or maybe on premises, maybe in your data center. And that has to be automated completely, or we have to minimize the manual intervention to the least amount possible. And if we get to 0, that will be perfect. So in software development, they said, okay, fine. What are the steps that we have to follow? The developers need to commit the code, they need to build the pieces together, and they need to test it, and then they have to stage it. So basically, it has gone through the cycle of development and enhancement and feedback and all that. Then it is ready to be deployed, and until it is deployed as well. Why do we tie the cloud to this? Because there's an inclination to host a lot of things in the cloud. Most of the startups, they will go to the cloud. So the pipelines and DevOps are going to end up deploying or implementing the software in the cloud. And that's why it is very crucial and very important. And we call these the CI/CD pipelines. That is one part of the DevOps. But in order to be good at DevOps, you need to learn all of these tools. Oh, no. I'm just kidding. Let's look at a better graph for this. If we want that part or that pipeline to be automated, we have to have some skills and some tools to help us or to enable us to do that. Part of that may require scripting, writing scripts for automation. And Python and Bash are 2 of the hottest skills in scripting that are in demand globally. Then we need to find out about the CI/CD tools, but there are so many of them. Learn one of them. Jenkins is an example. Azure DevOps is another if you are going to work on Azure. GitLab, Circle CI. Learn one of them. Jenkins has been the longest in the market, so it is the most common one that people usually learn at the beginning, but you can go with an alternative if in your country there is more demand on a different CI/CD tool. Then we need to build the pieces of software together. So depending on the programming language, Maven for Java, for example, you may use Docker, you may use Python, you may use Gradle. There are different tools. Learn one of them. So basically, the point is you need to learn one of them, because learning the second and third and fourth, if your job dictates that, is going to be much faster and easier. Then we have the source code or the version control. The most famous one is GitHub, given how long it has been in the market. And then we have Bitbucket, and there are GitLab and other ways as well. Learn GitHub, because that is going to be the most common one that you will encounter when you are reading and deploying and trying to get more projects to do from the internet. Deploy and configuration tools. Ansible is the latest and the most common one, but there are some jobs that are also asking for Puppet and Chef. I would go with Ansible and forget about the other ones. Then we have virtualization and containerization. Which one to learn? I would, if I'm starting, I would learn definitely Docker, because Kubernetes will need an understanding of Docker. And if I'm going to work on AWS, I'm going to learn Amazon ECS. That's how to implement Docker on AWS. But then if you want to do virtualization on premises, then Microsoft Hyper-V and VMware could be also tools. But I would learn Docker Kubernetes to start and then decide what goes next. Why? Because people are moving from on-premises, or at least migrating the new applications to the cloud. So learning Microsoft Hyper-V and learning VMware, which chances are that you're not going to deploy them in the cloud, can happen, but it's highly unlikely. Then learn the tools that are independent of virtualization or the cloud. Then we have the visualization and analytics. And here we have Nagios, SolarWinds, Tableau, and others. I would learn one of them. Nagios is a common one, so I would learn that one. Then you have the test automation. Part of the pipeline is going to be testing the software, unit tests and so on. And for that, Selenium and JUnit are two common tools. Learn one of them. Just get an idea on how to do it. You may not end up doing this yourself, but you will integrate with the testers. You will integrate your pipeline with the testing engineers or the testing team that is going to do the tests and so on. Then we have the analytics tool, and we have SonarQube is one of the important ones. Of course, this is not showing Prometheus and Grafana. They are very common in monitoring environments nowadays. Okay, so at the end, you need to learn one tool of each at least in order to be a well-rounded DevOps professional. So let's look at the absolute minimum skills that you would like to get to be in a very strong position to apply for associate or junior DevOps engineers. And if you have been in IT for quite some time, probably you will move laterally into a DevOps engineer and then get into the senior DevOps. So you don't have to start from the bottom. But let me assume that you don't know anything about IT and you are transitioning into IT. Then in this case, I would recommend having a great foundation, a good foundation into IT, into TCP/IP, into IP addressing, so basically networking, into what is cloud and why do we use it, and to what is DevOps and why do we use it. And after that, follow with Linux. You have to learn Linux. Guys, this is not an option anymore. It's not that you can live with Windows in today's IT, because a lot of things, even when you look at machine learning, analytics, and all that stuff, big data and all that, they are relying on Linux. Linux is a much more powerful operating system when it comes to modern IT. After that, Bash scripting or Python scripting or PowerShell. Which one to learn? I mean, you choose. But we have Bash scripting and Python. They are very, very common. And usually when they ask for in job posts, and I'm talking about what's happening in the US, that usually trickles down to the other geos, to the other geographies, Europe and all that, they're asking Bash scripting or Python scripting or PowerShell. That's where they want someone with cloud and DevOps skills. Then you need to have a good command of a cloud provider. AWS having the largest market share, but if in your country Azure or GCP, Google Cloud, are more prominent and they are the ones who are having the largest market share, go ahead with any one of these. And then you need to learn version control. So Git and GitHub is one, but you can go with Bitbucket. Depending on which one, I would recommend Git and GitHub because these are the most common, and it is hard to find someone who knows about version control or a developer or a development team that they don't know about Git and GitHub. If you learn this, you will pick up this one if you have to very quickly. Then Docker, and then Kubernetes and EKS. That is for AWS. It could be AKS for Azure. It could be GKS for Google. And then Terraform, a very important tool for any DevOps engineer in order to be able to script and configure and describe your infrastructure as scripts that can be held into version control systems, and you can control versioning and so on. Then you need to learn the CI/CD. So Jenkins is one tool, GitHub Actions is another, and then GitLab is a third one. If you have these skills and you master them means that you understand them, you have done all the hands-on labs, and also you have done projects. It is very important to do projects to be able to combine some of these tools together, because that is what is going to happen in real life. So that is crucial, and once you have mastered all of these, then you need to apply for associate or junior DevOps engineers if you are a beginner or transforming into IT. But if you have been into IT before, maybe a DevOps engineer job would be the target for you. What's the effort in order to finish this transformation in 3 to 6 months? So if you put an average of 2 to 4 hours per day, then 3 to 6 months is going to be the target. Somewhere in between if you're putting an average of 3 hours a day. If you need the transformation to happen quickly, you need to put in more hours. If you need the transformation to take its time, then you can put in less hours, but you have to be consistent and with no studying gaps. You can take 1 day or 2 days break a week, that's fine. But for the other days, you have to be consistent and you have to put in a constant amount of effort as much as possible. If you do this, then 6 months will be ample time. 3 months will be a bit challenging because you have to put 4 hours a day, maybe for 6 days a week, but you can do it, and you definitely can do it. And we have guided a lot of individuals that transformed from applied arts and transformed from photography and from jobs that are completely unrelated to IT into IT, and they're leading successful jobs right now. So if you'd like to break it down into more details, how much time do I need for each one? Then if you are going to put in 24 hours a week, and if you're going to put in 10 hours a week, for the 24 hours, it's going to take you about 3.5 months. If you put in 10 hours, it's going to take you about 6.5 months. So 26 weeks, 6 or 6.5 months. And this is the time that you would need for each one of these in order to study it, restudy the course, do the labs, do the projects, and maybe go a third round, and you will be good to go. So that's the minimum. How about Ansible? It didn't show up here. I'm talking about 3 to 6 months. Ansible could be another 2-3 weeks. If you want to add a cloud certificate, it could be another maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and so on. So this would be a realistic one that we have used it, and we have seen some of our students that were really diligent and consistently working, and they have achieved a lot of certificates in 6 months, and they completed most of these in front of you and more in 6 months. So if they have done it, and they were married with kids, so they had responsibilities and they had jobs, day jobs as well. So if they have done it, I don't see why you cannot do it. And by the way, they were not from IT background. So what I would add on top of what we have seen for the DevOps, so this part here, I'm sorry for the busy slide, but for these ones here, this is what I recommended for the DevOps. And this is more than enough for you to be 90% at least qualified for most of the DevOps, the associate and the junior ones available globally, including the US as well. I would add Ansible because this is configuration management. I would add AWS, Cloud Practitioner, and Solutions Architect Associate. If you are in Azure, maybe the fundamentals, and then you add to it the Azure Administrator. If in Google, then you need to do the Digital Leader and then the Google Engineer Associate. And I would do a second cloud as well. So this one recommends AWS and Azure, depending on what you see in the market. And of course, you can browse the famous recruitment websites in your country or in your region and find out what they're looking for. And you need to adjust based on that. But you will find that they are asking for these. It could be Google, AWS, Azure, on-premises. It all depends on the job, but you need to go with the majority. So if you find 70, 80% are asking for certain skill set, then you need to stick with that one. Don't go for the 10% and 5% and 20% because the opportunities are going to be proportional to the 10 or 20%. So that's what you can do. And if you add this, then you are with the 24 hours a week, then you are looking at 26 weeks for everything. For 6 months or 7 months, you will be done with all this. And that would include 2 certificates here, 1 certificate here, 1 certificate here, and 1 certificate here as well. So 5 industry recognized certificates, and you know almost everything that will be required for an associate cloud and DevOps engineer. And if that's the case and you finish this at a slower pace with 10 hours a week, then it will take you 48 weeks. So in that case, it will take you longer, but I would recommend some balance. You need to balance between your life, your work, your commitments, and your career transformation. Unless if you are desperate or you really need to finish it quickly, then 6 months will pass by very quickly, but then you will reap the fruits of what you have done. So what jobs would you be able to apply to if you finished this model? then you would be able to apply it for AWS DevOps Engineer, Azure DevOps Engineer, Associate Solutions Architect, DevOps Engineer, and Cloud Engineer. All of these. And of course, you can take it step by step. So I can finish this part first, and if I desperately need a job, then I can apply for a junior or associate Linux or systems engineer. So Linux administrator or systems technical support engineer. So in that case, then you get a job that will pay, and then you can sustain your life and you can continue your learning. So never stop at this stage. Then you're going to add this part, which is the DevOps. So this one is about 7 weeks, and this one, so here it's about 7 weeks, but on this side is about 4 weeks. And then you add probably another 10 weeks, and then you are good to go with this part. So for 10.5, that is 10.5 weeks. So let's say 3 months, 2.5 months to 3 months. And then you add the 12 weeks. So you can have a gap between the different phases, and you can apply for jobs in parallel with what you are doing. This is going to land you a job if you do an immaculate job in studying, practicing, doing the projects, doing the certificates, and you do well in the interviews. I have no doubt that you will be able to flip the table to the right direction and get into the career that you want, which in 2-3 years is going to earn you a lot of money. But what about the ROI? So I'm going to invest. What do I need? I'm going to invest time. I'm going to invest money. What is going to be my return on investment? And that's an excellent question. So let's look by the country. Let's say that you are in India. So in India, talent.com tells us that the average DevOps engineer, cloud DevOps engineer salary per annum is 1.35 million Indian rupees. So, and if you look at that, you'll find that the cost to subscribe in a self-study, well-designed, well-prepared program is going to be in the range of 90 Indian rupees a day. This is about $1, $1.50. But then your ROI, if you get the average salary, or even if you are towards the lower end, then maybe 10 days, 10 working days, maybe 2 weeks, you are going to recover the investment. If you are in the US, and this would be the dreamland for DevOps as well, then the cost for you to subscribe to a self-study program is going to be $1 a day, or maybe less than $1 a day. So less than a cup of coffee. But then the average salaries are in the 120 to 130 something thousands per year, which means your return on investment for the money you spent is going to be 1 day. So in 1 day, you get whatever, the 400, 500 bucks that you have paid, and then you are just reaping the fruits without any costs. If you are in the UK, then the average salary is 60, but it can add up to 80s, and the lower end is 50s. So the cost is less than £1 a day if you get the annual membership and you divide it by 365, or 730 if it is 2 years, then the ROI is 1 day. Same thing for Germany, and same thing for Australia. So your return on investment is 1 day. When you get a job, even if you are at the average or at the lower end of the curve, you are going to recover your investment in 1 day. So there is nothing to stop you. And to be honest, it's not the financial cost. It is your commitment when you set the goal, and your perseverance and persistence and diligence towards the goal, and never giving up, no matter how hard it looks. So this is all what you need in order to succeed into transitioning into cloud and DevOps engineering and reap the fruits of a lot of in-demand jobs and in-demand skills, and a lot of available jobs no matter where you are. And depending on where you are as well, it might help you move to other countries if this is your target and this is your goal. So again, this is the roadmap, and now you know what you need to learn, and you know what the steps and what are the alternatives. Then go and pick the right material for you to do this. And best if it was a pre-designed, like a properly designed program that will take you step by step with all the materials, all the projects, and all that. And that is what we are working on right now in DolfinED. We have already developed this program in the Arabic language, and now we are transitioning into the English language, understanding the broader global population that is looking for this. And we have a lot of courses that are already available. So this one is available, this one is available, this one is available in English, I mean. This is available in English. This is available in English. And the Linux and the introduction are available in English. So there is 4 courses that we are working on, and they should be ready 2 to 4 months. We will have all of these courses ready. So if that's the case and you would like to take advantage of an early bird discount, then look at the description box and you'll find that. So that's your roadmap, and that's a proven, and it is the right sequence and the perfect sequence to learn DevOps and to learn cloud. If this looks like something you are interested in, look at the description box, find the early bird discount, and you can start right away. And then as we go, you'll find that there are 3 or 4 courses that will be added between now and, let's say, August, September timeframe, and it will be all ready for you. And you will have access for 2 years. So during your study and during the interviews and the first few months or maybe 1 year in the job, you are covered. So you don't have to invest again, and it's the right investment and the same investment that we have done. Of course, others might think, okay, no, I will go here, save some pennies here, save some pennies there. It's not going to be consistent. It's not going to be a coherent program. So this is designed to help you not look for other resources and start from the get-go with a proper plan. All right? Please subscribe to the channel, give us the thumbs up, and activate notification in order to receive the videos that we are going to launch around this topic and other topics in career transformation.